Alright. Welcome back to Magic and Mayhem,
Connected
everybody.
to desktop FE6343P.
Huh?
I'm closing the door the rest of the way so that way there's...
There's your opening bit,
yeah,
Riley.
Okay. So now. We've been ready to start. It's me. I'm the problem. Welcome back to Magic and Mayhem, everybody. I'm your host, the King of Chaos. I just accidentally kicked my cat trying to walk, and I punted her little old lady body, and I have one cat now.
She'll be fine.
Yeah.
Walk it off.
Hi guys, I'm Ronan. This is the third time we're recording this, so I'm gonna talk fast. So
So today, a million years ago.
wait. Desktop audio. Dang it.
Oh, okay. Hang on.
Okay, go.
Welcome back to Magic and Mayhem. I'm the King of Chaos. I kicked my cat. She's dead. I have one now. Ronan.
Hi. This is the third time we're recording this. I don't have a joke this time, except for the fact that it's not actually the third time we're recording this. I'm sorry. I was lying to you.
We've done two intros for both of these episodes.
Two, go.
Hi, I'm James, and it's time for Make Trash Do Smash! Yeah! Bloomburrow!
Bro. My bit was going to be that in the last episode we had to re-record the intro, and a few episodes before that it was the episode before that we also had to re-record the intro because of Chaos's computer shutting down.
Yeah.
But this time we didn't have to do that. But halfway through me saying that we had to do that the first time, I realized my desktop audio was recording, so we had to start over.
So the
So
past
then
3 episodes,
Chaos
you had
joined
to
in.
re-record the intro.
This time we only had to redo like 5 seconds of content.
However,
Hey, Chaos.
the time before this, it was about 5 minutes worth of content spread over about 20 minutes, and then the time before that was the entire intro section and my deck.
Yep. So let's get through this one without your computer shutting down, eh?
All right. So today, we're doing a Bloomburrow commander pitch. I know Bloomburrow came out a couple weeks ago, but hey. So
Their
We
dilemma.
didn't want to
Nothing
have
like
2
New York
commander
City.
pitches in a row. For
Yeah.
some reason.
Well,
So
'cause-
we are recording this right before. We're recording this before Bloomburrow officially releases. Because we're recording this on a Tuesday, on the Tuesday before the Friday that it releases.
June 30th.
So, yes, June 30.
At 8:55 p.m. If anybody
8:55
actually
on
cares.
7/30,
2024.
2024.
We're not recording this a year in advance. I wish we were able to do something that
Epic.
we planned.
I don't
Yeah.
think Wizards even knows what they're doing a year in advance.
Who knows?
I don't know. They might.
Anyway,
Anyways,
this is a normal commander pitch. You know these. It's a set commander pitch.
Yeah.
We find some new commanders from the set that just came out, and we make some decks around them. And first up is Chaos. Chaos made a deck, and what is it?
all right. So I built a black-red deck based around Kev, Scaled Scorch.
You
He's
would.
a 3/2 lizard mercenary with ward, pay 2 life. Other creatures you control enter with an additional opponent, Enter with an additional +1/+1 counter on them for each opponent that lost life this turn. Whenever you cast a lizard spell, Kev, Scaled Scorch, deals 1 damage to target opponent. I chose this commander because he reminds me of my pet leopard gecko, who is just a little guy. He can do no wrong, but he thinks he's a lot stronger than he is. He thinks he's a dragon, but he's just a dumb, stupid lizard. And I love him so much. He's my son. So this deck is based around 2 concepts, both of which were very prolific in Bloomburrow, and that's lizards and burn, specifically lizards that set things on fire.
That's another two things.
Yes. So even in prior sets that lizards have shown up in, they have also been very, very good at, dealing direct damage, like in Zendikar, with jumping into it. Spitfire Lagak! He's a 3/4 lizard. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. This one is very, very great because the commander cares about however many opponents have been dealt damage. So when you just play a land, and then whatever creatures you cast that turn enter with 3+1/+1 counters.
Oh my gosh.
What's up?
I haven't used Streamlabs for anything other than Magic and Mayhem for the last 6 months. Somehow my desktop audio turned on for the last episode and a half.
That's all right. At least there is sound.
Don't worry. Shut it off now. It's fine. I'll just use your desktop audio for the audio of everything. It'll be fine. Or I'll work around it. Either one.
Do you want it to just stay on or go off?
You can shut it off now. I'll make a note.
I don't know how this happens. I have not used this for anything other than Magic and Mayhem for like 6 months.
Alright, back to your deck. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about things that when they come in, or when they have other stuff come in, it deals direct damage. So there's Agate Instigator. Whenever another creature I control enters, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. It also has Offspring for 1 in a red, which is when you cast it, you can pay that additional Offspring cost, and then you get a token copy of that creature that's a 1/1. It is a new ability that released with Bloomburrow. Then I also have Agate Blade Assassin. Whenever it attacks...
That new ability. Can you go over that one more time?
Yeah. So Agate Instigator has Offspring. So what Offspring is whenever you cast a spell that has Offspring, you can pay its Offspring cost, which in this case would be 1 in a red. If you do, when it enters the battlefield, you create a token copy of that creature that is a 1/1.
Oh, okay.
So you would have Agate Instigator, the original that's a 1/3, and the Offspring that's a 1/1.
Okay, sounds good. I get it now. You may continue.
Yeah. Then there's Agate Blade Assassin. Whenever it attacks, defending player loses 1 life, and I gain 1 life. There's Chandra's Pyreling. Whenever a source I control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, it gets +1/+0 and double strike until end of turn. So in the case of like Spitfire Lagak, it would get +3/+0 because it's hang on, nope. It would just be +1 because it's 1 source. Or would it be 2? I don't know. Someone who's a judge can figure it out.
Judge, hit us up.
Judge. Then there's a lot of stuff in both Bloomburrow and in the past that have been, when it enters or when it attacks, it deals 1 damage directly. So I'm going to go through some of those. There's Hired Claw. Whenever you attack with 1 or more lizards, it deals 1 damage to target opponent.
Do you have the best goblin?
Which goblin that?
The best goblin.
I do not have Cranko.
No, James, you know what I'm
the
talking
Immortal?
about. No.
Oh, I know which one you're
Best
talking
goblin.
about. The one where it dies, it deals 1 damage to any target.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
Dang it. I don't remember his name. I don't do names.
Goblin Pyromancer, I think?
Goblin Arsonist. That's what it is.
Goblin Arsonist. The best goblin.
So Hissing Iguanar, when it dies, I can have it deal 1 damage to target player or planeswalker. There's Kindlespark Duo. It's a lizard auto. Lizard. What? It's
Auto?
a lizard auto. It's a lizard
Ah.
otter. You can tap it. It deals 1 damage to target opponent, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, untap it. Then there's
Right, I died to that one at pre-release. Twice.
Yeah, that one's rough. There's one of my favorite lizards of all time, Lizard Blades. It has double strike, and it also has equipped creature has double strike, and you can put the lizards on a person.
I love that card. Reconfigure stuff is so good.
It is really fun. Then there's Magebane Lizard, which is another one that I think that personally would kick Ronnan in the teeth with Fibbled Thip. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, Magebane Lizard deals damage to that player equal to the number of non-creature spells they've cast this turn. Continuing on, I have stuff like Party Thrasher. Non-creature spells you cast from exile have Convoke. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may discard a card. If you do, exile the top 2 cards of your library, then choose one of them. You may play that card this turn. There's... let me see. Valley Flamecaller. If a lizard, mouse, otter, or raccoon you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals that much damage plus 1 instead. And then, another thing that's important to note with this deck is that right before Bloomburrow was released, there was a change in a few creature types. Like Cephalid are now squids. There are some other ones that I don't remember, but Viashino that showed up in sets like mostly core sets. They had a bunch in New Capenna. Viashino are now eroded to be lizards. So I do have a lot of Viashino in this deck, such as Riveteer's Requisitioner. When it dies, create a treasure token, and it has Blitz. There's Viashino Pyromancer. When it enters, it deals 2 damage to target player or planeswalker. And then there's Mind Claw Shaman. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals his or her hand. You may cast an instant or sorcery card from that player's hand without paying its mana cost. Then just a couple more good cards that I threw in here because they are just good lizards. There's Laughing Jasper Flint from Thunder Junction. Creatures you control but don't own are mercenaries in addition to their other types. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of outlaws you control. Until end of turn, you may cast spells from among those cards, and mana of any type can be spent to cast those spells. Then the last creature I want to talk about is Ketis, Emberclaw Familiar. It's a 1/1. Whenever a commander you control deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to each other opponent. In not in hindsight. Actually, yes. In hindsight, I didn't realize that it was just combat damage. Because I wanted to cast a lizard spell, have it deal 1 damage to each opponent, and then move on. But no, it's just combat damage, which is unfortunate because I don't think it's going to be attacking with Gev all that much.
Probably not. He seems like one of those commanders you just want to kind of hang around and keep from dying.
Yeah, he's going to be more of an enchantment than anything. Then in terms of spells, like instants and sorceries, most of them are either direct damage burn spells or... So there's direct damage burn spells like Blasphemous Act and Flame Rift and Tectonic Hazard. Then there's cards like Read the Bones, Sign in Blood, Faithless Looting, Thrill of Possibility, that's just more card advantage. And then there's straight up creature removal, because I don't run enough of that. And have been trying to get better.
Time to enchantment your guy down.
No.
So there's stuff like Terminate and Rakdos Charm. Rakdos Charm's really good because it can destroy an artifact, exile a player's graveyard, or 1 damage to have each creature deal 1 damage to its controller. Then there's Bedevil, destroy target artifact, creature, or planeswalker. Vicious Rumors, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Each opponent discards a card, then puts the top card of their library into their graveyard, and then I gain 1 life.
All
Flame
worth it
Rift.
for 1 life.
Oh yeah. Flame Rift, it deals 4 damage to each player.
Oh. Don't do that.
It costs 2. I love it.
Oh, don't do that.
And then Blasphemous Act, of course, just in case.
You never know.
Yeah. We really don't. And then outside of the typical, Soul Ring, Signet, Wayfarer's Bauble, the artifacts I have, Bontu's Monument, black creatures I cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever I cast a creature spell, each opponent loses 1 life and I gain 1 life. There's Cryptolith Fragment. At the beginning of... Or I can tap it, add 1 mana of any color to my mana pool, and each player loses 1 life. And then at the beginning of my upkeep, if each player has 10 or less life, I can transform it. And it transforms into Aurora of Emrakul. Aurora of Emrakul. A 1/4 flying and death touch. When it attacks, each opponent loses 3 life.
I see. That's too many life.
Mm-hmm. Especially if it can only become that after everybody only has less than 10 life. Then there's
I don't have enough.
There's Patchwork Banner, which did wonders for me in the Bloomburrow pre-release. As it enters, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1, and you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. Another thing that I should mention about this set is that I think it was a little before this set, actually. I think it might have been around the time of the Forbidden set that we don't talk about, that they eroded Enters the Battlefield and shortened it to just Enters, so that way they can throw more text on cards.
It throws me off sometimes. I get confused.
It was throwing me off real bad at pre-release.
Yeah.
I think this is the first set where they've got it actually printed. I don't think it's actually eroded anywhere. I think it's just that they declared, hey, we're going to change this moving forward.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. There's a brand new enchantment that's sort of... Actually, no, they just are straight up new class cards, sort of like the fighter class and stuff like that from Baldur's Gate.
But it's more like profession kind of things.
Yeah. So there's Artist's Talent in here. When you cast a non-creature spell, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Non-creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast at level 2. And then at level 3, if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage +2 instead.
Ooh.
Then I have Warstorm Surge. Whenever a creature I control enters, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. There's Sanctum of Stonefangs. Beginning of my pre-combat main phase, each opponent loses X life and I gain X life, where X is the number of shrines I control. This is the only shrine. I just care about the tiny amount of life loss. There's Retreat to Hagra. Whenever land enters battlefield under your control, choose one. Target creature gets +1/+0 and death touch until end of turn, or each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And then Impact Tremors. Everybody knows Impact Tremors. Whenever a creature enters under your control, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Then City on Fire. For 5 and 3 red, it's an enchantment with Convoke. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage instead.
No.
And yeah, that's pretty much my deck. It's setting lizards on fire and throwing them at people.
Burn.
I have.
Did you say you had Roaming Throne in there, or?
I do not. I should put it in there, but I'm cutting it close with my budget already.
It makes sense.
Because once again, I did a budget deck. Cheapest printings, including basic lands and commanders. This deck will run you $43.70 as of recording.
Nice.
So one of my more expensive budget decks, but that's okay.
That's pretty good. Considering that most of mine have been over 1,000 up to 2-ish.
Yeah, Fibblethip is not cheap.
Nope. No, he's not.
I've got mine down at 200 or 350 this time.
Huh, pretty good.
Mine's showing 250.
Mine is.
But I just have it
still
updated
over
to
1,000.
showing cheapest. I don't think I ever said the name of this deck either.
Give us the name.
I could not for the life of me think of a name for this deck, so I asked the critter, my partner, for some advice. And they said, Kim's BBL. In terms of like Kim Kardashian's Brazilian butt lift. And I was like, interesting. And then I was like, wait, I can actually kind of use that. So this is BBL, Big Burning Lizards.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. What
That's
do you guys? What do you guys think? Give
Guess
me
it
a
works.
rating.
Oh, rating? I'll give you a solid mid. Alright, that's it.
Mid.
Okay, what is your rating without taking the name of the deck into consideration?
Okay.
Below mid.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Okay.
I'll put it slightly higher. I'll give you slightly higher for. No, I'll give you a. Hold on. I'm going to give you 16 and a half.
Out
of the 17 minutes of this episode that James had his Discord audio being recorded.
Okay. Yeah, 16 and a half out of 17.
I had to take it down the one because I am doing it without thinking about the name, but I can only get it so far into the back of my head. So it's still
Fair enough.
there.
So it would be like 15.
Oh no, if I was actually thinking about the name of this while giving you a rating, you'd be down at like 2 or 3.
Oh. I personally think that I have never had a greater deck name.
True. And all my other statements still stand.
Fair. Fair. Reasonable. That's
I'm
completely reasonable.
I'm sorry. Oh no. Oh no, there he is.
He's back.
I was expecting you to give me a phone call after that, being like, I tried to reconnect, but my computer shut down. Ah!
I was really tempted to just disconnect and call you. Just be like, hey, how's it going?
Hi, how's it going?
No, I'm still recording. I just wanted to see how you were doing.
Yeah, I just wanted to call, check in on you. It's been a while since we've talked. You doing okay,
Yeah.
man?
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Yeah. A long time no talk.
Connected to desktop FE 6343P.
What?
Alepis is awake.
Hello, Alepis.
Alepis is dead.
Goodbye, Alepis.
All
Good
right.
riddance,
What would you like
Alepis.
to rate my deck, James?
I can get you a solid 2 out of the 3 silly little guys you can offspring.
Oh yeah, the two. There's 3. That's a
There's
lot more than I
3.
meant.
3 little lizards.
All right, I like it. James, I believe your deck is up next. Go ahead and give us a talking about it.
Try to beat
Alright.
the burn, boy.
So we got finally a reason to add white to my slimes.
Oh no.
I picked Burke, Long Ear of the Law. For 4, a green and a white, you can get a legendary creature, Rabbit Soldier, 4/4. He has Vigilance. When Burke, Long Ear of the Law enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it attacks, double the number of +1/+1 counters on it.
What?
Oh, jeez.
It's proliferation, but the way that I thought it was when you first said it to me.
That's ridiculous. I love that. Hate it. Get it away
So-
from me. That's awesome.
I started by putting in 20 Slime Against Humanities,
Oh, of course you did.
which is
Oh yeah.
Go ahead and read that out for us.
For 2 into green, you have a sorcery that says create a 0/0 green ooze creature token with trample. Put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is 2 plus the total number of cards you own in exile or in your graveyard that are oozes or are named Slime Against Humanity. I forgot about the extra ooze clause thing. I was originally
put a
planning
lot
on
of
doing an
shapeshifters in here.
ooze deck. Yes, that is another idea. A deck can have any number of cards named Slime Against Humanity.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the only good things to come out of Murders at Karlov Manor.
And he said, "Oh,
Yes.
oh, there
Yes,
he goes."
that required the extra loud.
Your camera froze for just half a second before you started talking again, and then when you started talking, you moved 1,000,000 miles an hour to catch up. It didn't like skip forward. It
I
was
just
like
be
fast
like
forward.
that sometimes. Yeah. So of course the first thing I considered was where is it?
I'm already a fan of
A
this.
unnatural growth.
I'm less of a fan of this.
For 1 and 4 green, it's an enchantment at the beginning of each combat. Double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. So
That's
it's
good.
just kind of like my commander, but it doesn't stay doubled because it's not doubling the counters; it doubles their power.
Mm-hmm.
I also put a bunch of ramp in here for some reason, and because I have so much ramp, I went down some land from normal.
Your commander, is it the doubling of the counters? Is that an attack trigger at the beginning of combat?
When a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it,
It's an attack
when
trigger.
attacks, yeah.
Okay.
I saw a period where there was not a period, so I stopped.
Okay.
There were 2 more words.
That makes sense. I was just trying to think of how that enchantment would work with your commander.
The Bloomburrow
So it
Arcane
would-
Signet looks really cool.
Double it.
Does it?
And then double the counters.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it does.
Ooh,
It's on
the
a
Bloomburrow Soul Ring looks good too.
Oh.
So, because I'm dealing in 1/1 counters, I decided. Okay, so to start off, I have decided to actually build this deck. I have it sitting over there in my little cabinet over there, where I keep all of my little baby decks. So I decided to splurge a little bit and grab me an Ozolith, which says whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on the Ozolith. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if the Ozolith has counters on it, you may move all counters from the Ozolith onto target creature. It's an artifact. It's very good for +1/+1 counters,
Yeah.
as well as shield counters and stuff.
Dude,
but
all of your
that doesn't
oozes
matter.
having built up a ton of counters, you get board wiped, all of those go onto
Yes.
the Ozolith. You get your commander
So
out
all-
there, dump them onto the commander, swing with the commander, double what's on your commander. Holy
Yeah.
cow.
So, all of the slimes enter with 1/1 counters. The commander doubles 1/1 counters at combat. So, we're just heavy 1/1 counters here.
Yeah.
So, of course, I decided to add in a Champion of Lambholt, which is a 1/1 creature. It says creatures with power less than Champion of Lambholt's power can't block creatures you control. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Champion of Lambholt. That's not going to trigger all too often. We're just going to dump a bunch of counters onto Lambholt.
This
and hope it doesn't get removed.
lamb holding champion has screwed me over so many times.
It's an awful, horrible, awful card. I love
So many times.
I made sure to put in a decent amount of a little bit of protection. We've got a Teferi's protection, which defaulted to the Japanese printing, so you can't actually read it.
I have that happen with some of the Jinga taxis every time I put them in there. I'm like, I don't know which one
Because it's the
this is.
cheapest printing.
Yeah.
But most people know Teferi's protection. Essentially, you and all your permanents phase out until end of turn.
I like it. I like
Or
it.
till the beginning of your next turn, I think.
it. Yeah, and then your life total can't change. I think is the only other thing.
Yeah, your life total cannot change. I threw in a swords and a swords to plowshares and a path to exile, because removal. We're in white, might as well. I threw in a new card from Bloomburrow. It's called Dawn's Trace. It's got gift a card, which is, if you choose to gift a card, it is telling another person, hey, go ahead and draw one if this card resolves. Hold on. I lost it. There it is. You and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. If the gift was promised, permanents you control also gain indestructible until end of turn. So if you gift a card, it's just a heroic intervention.
Yeah.
Which
But
I
you
also
get
have
to
heroic
make a
intervention
friend.
in here. Yes.
Hey, James,
Possibly.
Could I get that card from you?
It's
Could I-
white.
No. Can you gift me
Oh, okay.
when you're playing?
Mayhap.
the-
I love the new gift mechanic.
I
man.
do too. I was
Yeah.
looking through those gift mechanics.
Also,
All
I
of
have-
those are so good.
I've looked at the Miss Bumbleflower deck. As it turns out, I like the idea of group hug decks.
Yeah.
Who knew?
You're gonna love the deck
sounds
that I
fun.
made today.
But I made sure to put in some protection, mainly for my Champion of Lambholt because it is evasion. But because I'm committing to the board a lot, so
Yeah.
if we get like a farewell, I'm throwing out a Teferi's protection because I need my stuff, especially the Ozolith. I also have Ozolith, the Shattered Spire from March of the Machines. If one or more +1/+1 counters would be put onto an artifact or a creature you control, that many +1/+1 counters are put onto it instead. You can also pay 1 at a green and tap it. Put a 1/1 counter on target artifact or creature you control. Activate only as a sorcery. And it's got cycling. Doesn't matter too much, but
It's always good to have options.
yeah. And then of course, enchantments. We've got just your basic stuff to put up more +1/+1 counters and stuff. We've got branching evolution. We've got hardened scales. Hold on. Okay, cool. Hardened scales. There's Hydra's Growth, which is an enchantment. Enchant a creature. When Hydra's Growth enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on enchanted creature at the beginning of. Hold on. Where to go? At the beginning of your upkeep, double the number of +1/+1 counters on enchanted creature. We've got a
That's
Master
going on
Chef.
Champion of Lambhold.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Master Chef. Chef. It's spelled chef, but it's chef.
Master.
Master Chef from my favorite game, Hollow.
Commander creatures you own have this creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it, and other creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. It just makes sure things are starting with 1/1 counters. That way, your commander can just double everybody if they attack.
I can tell that you play green fairly often and you make green decks because you making a deck with green in it is like me making a deck with blue in it. You can tell that you know all of these cards from before you started research for this.
Yeah,
You know what you're
it
doing.
helps that
with these.
I like 1/1 counters.
Mhm.
We've got a Tribute to the World Tree, which is whenever a creature enters the battlefield under control, draw a card if its power is 3 or greater. Otherwise, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. So it's card draw or working into what you're trying to do.
Which both are great.
Yep. Anything else interesting? Ooh, I found this cool card. It's called Damning Verdict. For 3 and 2 white, you can. It's a sorcery that says destroy all creatures with no counters on them.
Oh,
That's
no.
nasty.
Oh yeah. Oh mama.
I love
It's
that. I hate it.
$17.
Give it. Take
I'm-
it away.
I am
for-
blowing the $17 to get this card, man.
It's time
This is
for
absolutely
Jace's
going to the stack.
projection, boys.
Ooh, the Harmonize from Bloomburrow looks really good too. All of
Frog.
the art for Bloomburrow looks good.
It really does.
It's just three frogs singing together.
Ah! Hi ho!
I've got-
Hi ho! Hi ho!
I also found from way back in Cons of Tarkir a creature called Abzam Battle Priest. It's got Outlast for a white, which Outlast is pay a white, tap it, put a +1 custom counter on this creature. Outlast only is a sorcery. That doesn't really matter. What I want is the second ability. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has lifelink.
That's a really,
What?
really good card. It was in my All Sets All Stars because of the lifelink.
Don't give
Yeah.
the
That's-
slimes lifelink, please.
Give the slimes lifelink. Do it.
Please.
Yeah.
Do it.
And turns out my pre-release promo card works pretty good in here as well. It is for a green and a white, you have a legendary rabbit archer with vigilance and reach. Whenever its name is Phineas Ace Archer. Whenever Phineas Ace Archer attacks, put a 1/1 counter on each other creature you control that's a token or a rabbit. Then, if creatures you control have total power 10 or greater, draw a card. Most of my creatures are going to be tokens. I have 9 creatures in this deck, and then 20 Slime Against Humanities.
Do you have
Most of my creatures are going to be tokens.
do you have
I have
any
a couple
of
of
those
the rabbits as well.
Do you have any of those things that, like, if you would make a token, make 2 of those?
I don't think currently. We could throw in I think it's a Primal Vigor.
Or I guess
Do tokens.
Doubling
You can
season,
also
maybe.
do a doubling season.
now that I
I
think
just
about it,
didn't because it's $55.
now that I think about it, that might not actually work very well because they're 0/0 tokens, right? They just come in with
It does work. I have
Yeah.
made it work on arenas,
Yeah, we looked up
so
the
I'm
ruling
pretty sure it works.
with Slime Against Humanity, where it says put X +1/+1 counters on it. It refers to the token that was created, and you're copying the token that got created, so it gets the same ability from the rest of the card.
Okay. So
Yeah.
okay.
Which is really,
That's
really
good.
dumb, but it makes sense.
It's wild.
It's good that it's that way. It's just kind of stupid that it's that way because
Yeah.
also don't let him do this. But
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, it's like no matter what the actual ruling is, like even if it was like the other way around, I'd be like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But if it's like this, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense.
Either way.
Either way, it makes sense. Keep it away from me. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Take it away. Bye. Hello.
Slime Against Humanity is just a card that's like, oh no, it's the rats, but bigger somehow.
It's like the rats, but goopy.
It's
But green.
goopy
It's
and
rats,
green.
but green.
It's green, goopy rats. No.
Yeah.
I also
Goopy
threw
green
in.
rat was my nickname in high school.
Don't do this to me.
I also threw in Lazelle because she also, I believe it's doubles counters. If you would put one or more creature counters onto a creature or planeswalker you control, or on yourself, put that many +1. Okay, adds one more counter.
Adds an additional.
Yep.
Which is still nothing to sneeze at.
Especially when you have like 5 of those.
Yeah. This was my placeholder commander until Long Ear of the Law came out. Because I've been building this deck and I've been playing it on arenas. This is Kotzil Malamet Exemplar.
That's quite the
For
name.
one, it's, yeah. 1, a green and a white. It's a legendary cat warrior. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Whenever one or more creatures you control, each with power greater than their base power, deals combat damage to a player, draw a card.
Don't stop me
So
from
it was-
playing spells on your turn. How dare you?
It was a pretty decent placeholder commander anyway. I threw in a Kodama of the West Tree as well, just because modified creature deals combat damage, you get a basic land. Ramp.
And all of your slime tokens are going to be modified creatures, so...
Yes, all of them technically are modified creatures. And then finally I found from War of the Spark, Ajani the Grey-Hearted. The Great-Hearted. For 2, a green and a white, you can get an Ajani Legendary Planeswalker. Starts at 5, +1 is you gain 3 life, -2 is put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and a loyalty counter on each other planeswalker you control. A static ability that says creatures you control have vigilance.
Hmm.
Oh, no.
Very helpful.
Yeah, that's
Oh, no, this-
nasty.
Yeah.
The
I have-
slimes have vigilance and lifelink.
Yeah.
And Ajani gives 2 counters if you have Lizelle.
I have a couple of honorable mentions that would do great in this deck. I'm just not putting in because I'm actually building this deck and I don't want to spend this money. You can do a Vorinclex, Monstrous Raider, a Doubling Season, or I think an Esper Sentinel would be really fun. It says
yeah.
whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless that player pays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power.
Yeah.
Ooh, speaking of Vorinclex, we got a new really fun enchantment. It is a class from Bloomburrow. For 1 and a green, you get Innkeeper's Talent. On level 1, at the beginning of your combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. You can pay a green to level it up to 2. Permanents you control with counters on them have ward 1.
Ooh.
You can pay 3 and a green to level it up to 3. If you would put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, put twice that many of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead.
Oh.
It's just a Vorinclex for $2.
Oh no.
It's showing $5 for me right now. I think the price is climbing.
Reload page.
Google,
I have it only.
show me this
I
man's balls.
What?
I have it only set to TCG. Yeah, TCG player right now.
Oh yeah, TCG player is $5. Card Kingdom is $2.79, or $3.99 if you want a foil. Or you can just spend like $400 on 2 collector booster boxes and get 2 of them.
Not guaranteed. Not guaranteed. You can hold us legally responsible for that same.
Yeah, not guaranteed, but I did that.
Yeah. One thing I do want to mention about this deck that I don't think we reacted to, I didn't because I didn't know this. Those ooze creature tokens have trample.
Yes.
He did say that at the beginning. It's one of the things that he said.
I sped through the cards.
And I forgot.
Yeah. It's
Lifelink,
mixing trample with doubling
Vigilance.
counters.
Trample.
Huh.
Doubling the counters. I'm so looking forward to this playing up against this
Yeah.
deck. Okay.
There is one card I do want to talk about because it's hilarious. Jacked Rabbit.
Oh yeah. This freaking dude.
Just the art alone is hilarious. And
I
it's
would.
good.
I'll look
enters
at
with-
it when I'm editing this because I can't switch tabs currently.
Yeah, I stayed
whenever he
zoomed
attacks, Whenever he attacks, create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token equal to the jacked rabbit's power.
That's pretty good.
in.
He starts as a 1/2, but bro is massive.
Yeah, he costs X a
Oh,
1 and a
no, wait,
white,
he-
and then he enters with
yeah.
X1 counters on it. If X is 5 or more, you draw a card when it enters.
Ooh.
So if you sink 7 mana into it, you get 5 1/1 rabbit creature tokens every turn.
And a card win.
And draw a card when he enters.
Yeah,
That's the best part of Magic right there.
Mm-hmm.
rabbits. Yeah, I agree.
Sure.
All right.
Well,
yeah,
I'm going to rate this deck a perfect score of 20 out of the 20 Slime Against Humanities in it. Because I've been hearing you
Nice.
talk about these Slime Against Humanities, and all of the things that you could do with them, and I am so excited to see this come to fruition, and things in a new set just work so perfectly for this. I love it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also going to have to give a perfect score. I'm going to do 4 out of the 4 total rabbits in this deck. For very similar reasons. I've heard you talk about this since April, I think. Whenever
They spoiled the rabbit really early.
Mhm.
I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Because it was like, you were talking about Slime Against Humanity when Karlov Manor came out, which I think was February or March. And then they
February,
spoiled
I
Burke
think.
not long after it. So I've been hearing about this at work since then.
Yeah.
And I have been so excited and scared the whole time, and seeing the actual deck list in front of me, I'm thrilled. I'm genuinely so excited for this.
Yeah. I think I discovered the commander in May, I think, because we were demoing the West Air Handler while I was explaining it.
Yes. I do also remember hearing you talking about it at Synergy, though.
Yeah.
So
It was around the same time.
Yeah, so I think it was like late April, early May. Because that's right around... No, because I wasn't... I was not there
We're getting
in
stuck on
May.
something
Yes.
that doesn't matter as much for the
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. Sorry.
Stop.
Wait a
Drop
minute.
and roll.
Oh my God, this is looking
All right.
right.
But yeah, 2 perfect... The first time that's ever happened, I think. Perfect scores across the board for a deck. So congratulations, James.
Making records. Setting
Mm-hmm.
records.
I will not take this lightly. What am I talking about? I'm playing Selesnya. Of course I'm taking everything lightly.
Yeah.
I don't care what you guys are doing. I'm playing solitaire, and then I get board wiped.
Yeah.
I-
All right.
Felt that. That's my every game, because that's how I play games. I'm just like, my board's doing awesome, and then everyone's
And
like,
People are
he's
oh
doing
god, his
things.
board's doing awesome.
He's doing things. Get him. I'm like, but I'm the only one playing. No, get him. No, please. I decided that I needed a thing that I do a lot like Chaos does, where he does budget decks. I don't think I mentioned this one in the All Sets All Stars, but that's where I started doing this. I don't think I did it for the Assassin's Creed, but that's because I found one that was just like epic and I needed to do that. But from now on, officially, I am going to be, the card that I pick is going to be on the bottom row of the EDH rec list of new commanders when we look at them, sorted by number of decks made. I'm going to go with one of the least popular commanders and make one around that, because I've found that the least popular commanders are usually the ones that you can have the most fun playing with. I want to make a deck that's fun. I don't care if it's overpowered. I want it to be fun. Sometimes those go hand in hand.
Fibble tip.
Fibble It's exactly what I was thinking too.
Ninjas.
Yeah, yes. Okay, so most of the decks that I actually end up making are really overpowered. But I have put together decks that are really fun and not overpowered. I just don't actually
Own
make
them.
those ones because I also like winning. I like having options. Anyway, the commander that I went with this time is Mr. Foxglove. I have been informed that it's the secondary commander for one of the
Yeah,
And
Mr.
here.
Foxglove is the backup for the group hug deck.
It is?
Yes.
Ow.
Oh, I thought he was for birds.
The backup for birds is Arthur Marigold Knight.
Oh, right, yeah. It's like a mouse or something.
Yeah.
Well, there's not a lot of decks made around this guy.
Yeah, it's
He
like
might be
200 right now.
backup commander for some.
Yeah.
There was 20 last night. So this so far this isn't working out as well for me as I wanted it to, but you know what,
still
it's
gonna-
It's
fine.
okay if a backup commander.
It's fine. I made a cool
As long
deck.
as it's
fun.
not a face commander, we're cool.
It's fun.
We've
at
done
least.
that mistake before.
Yeah, twice in the same episode. We don't
So-
talk about Karlov Manor.
So Mr. Foxglove, it costs 2, a green, a white, and a blue. It's a legendary creature, Fox Rogue. It is a 3/5 with lifelink, and whenever Mr. Foxglove attacks, draw cards equal to the number of cards in defending player's hand minus the number of cards in your hand. If you didn't draw cards this way, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield.
Cheating out creatures.
no.
You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Yes.
I just glanced over at the deck list and yeah, it makes sense.
Ignore. Don't.
Can you
Don't look
guess
at that.
what caught my eye?
The Blightsteel?
Yeah.
Ah, there he is.
In all of his robot glory.
I saw this card and I was like, card draw? Heck yeah. Cheating out creatures? Double heck yeah. It's my
Heck
2
yeah,
things.
dude.
And it doesn't even have black in it, which is odd considering all of my other draw and cheat out things are blue-black.
Just think of it this way: you're playing Simic with some removal. Just
Yeah.
don't look at the white pip.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's
What is
actually
that
pretty
color?
close to what I
Ah!
ended up doing with this. Actually, there are a few really good white cards in here though, like Smothering Tithe, because I'm a monster. When an opponent draws a card that player may pay 2. If the player doesn't, you create a colorless treasure artifact token. You know what treasures do. See, that in and of itself, horrible. Once you realize that most of my instants and sorceries and stuff, they try to they get me cards. They also give everyone else cards. So I'm going to be getting a lot of triggers for that. Dawn's Truce, you already talked about this one, James. It's the one with gift a card, and your permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. If the gift was promised, permanents you control also gain indestructible. I've got that one, and I think there's
group hug heroic intervention.
Yeah, I think there's another gifted card. Long River's Pole. It's cost 2 blue, is an instant. It has gift a card, counter target creature spell. If a gift was promised, instead counter target spell. So I can be giving you guys cards and fueling my smothering tithe, and countering your spells. And that spell that you cast, you're also going to have to pay the 1 for Ristic Study, please. Because that's also in here. You pay the 1 for Ristic Study for your card. I'm going to counter your card, and you can draw 1. And now pay the 2 for Smothering Tithe, please. No? Okay, I'll take that treasure, and I'm going to use that to cast my Soul Ring. And play a Mana Crypt. And use the Soul Ring and Mana Crypt to play Whisper Silk Cloak, and that and 1 extra mana to attach it to my commander, so you can't touch him. Thank you very much. In this TED Talk, I will show you that
It's not a TED Talk, that's a Theodore Rambles.
You're right. You're so right. I'm very
Rambles
tired.
was the wrong word. I was engaged. I was listening.
Whisper Cloak is that one we were talking about in the Assassin's Creed, when we were doing the Assassin's Creed set. It's equipped creature can't be blocked and has Shroud. It costs 3 and has equip cost of 2. That guy's good. That guy's so good. I have a Lightning Greaves in here as well, because I really want a lot of the creatures that I'm cheating out to be able to. I know that I will already have declared attacks, but some of them have tap triggers or tap abilities that would be nice. Like, let's see, Bloom Tender. For each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of any color if you tap it. It's a 1/1 that costs 1 and a green. So in this deck, I could tap it for 3. 1 of green, 1 of white, and 1 for blue. One of my favorite guys in here that I found is Bloodroot Apothecary. It's a 3/3 for 2 and a green creature squirrel druid, has Toxic 2. When Bloodroot Apothecary enters, you and target opponent each create a treasure token. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-creature token, that player gets 2 poison counters. So Chaos, I would like to present you with a conundrum.
What's up?
Me and this squirrel versus you and all of your pirates. Tap those treasures, I dare you.
If I can get my hands onto one of those squirrels, it is going into Finn the Fangbearer.
Dude, that would be
for sure.
So good. So
yeah.
good.
This might have to go into my Excel deck.
He's really good. He has nothing to do with any of the other stuff that this deck is about. But I saw him and I was like, oh yeah, let's scare him a little bit.
It's a squirrel and it creates a treasure, so.
I have no proliferation. I have no other ways to give people treasure tokens. I'm relying on that one person tapping and using that treasure token for that to even go off at all. I just want to put the fear into the heart of the enemy. Speaking of creatures, I'm going to give a few highlights out of those. Ancient Silver Dragon, because blue and cards.
Yeah.
Our Avicin, Avicin, Angel of Hope.
Yeah.
Something like
Avison,
that. Yeah. 5 and 3 white, legendary creature Angel, 8/8 with flying, vigilance, and indestructible. Other permanents you control have indestructible. Don't you dare take my Foxglove. He must live. I put in a bunch of stuff to give Foxglove either unblockable or Shroud, indestructible, stuff like that, because it's an attack trigger. I don't want him to be blocked and killed. I really need this guy because he costs 5.
Critter Birds of Paradise looks so good.
I know, right? It's awesome.
It's so good.
I didn't really need this Birds of Paradise in it, but I saw the printing, and I was like, I kind of want this art though. So I stuck him in there. It just taps and adds 1 mana of any color. I like the fact that it's 1 mana of any color, which is why I went with that over any other mana.
Hey,
Mana dork.
it's ramp.
Yeah, it's really good. I have another mana dork. Oh, Fanatic. That's a normal word. Why don't you read that normally? Fanatic of Ronnas. Ronnas?
Yeah.
Ronnas.
Yeah, you got it.
A 1 and a green for a
Nice.
creature snake druid. It's a 1/4 with tap, add 1 green. And it also has, I don't know, ferocious? Is that what that says?
Yes.
It's in a different font. It's hard to see on my screen for some reason. Ferocious, tap, add 4 green, activate only if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. Eternalize 2 and
Holy
2
crap.
green. Eternalizing turns it in, gives it base power and toughness of 4/4, I think.
You exile it from a graveyard and create a token copy of it that's a black zombie in addition to its other types, and its base power and toughness is 4/4.
Right. I knew that it got it to 4/4. I wasn't sure what all of the other steps were. Yeah. So
it should have explanation text if you switch it from the full art.
Yeah, it
to the
did.
regular.
And that's it. I didn't have it on the full art to begin with. And I don't know why it switched to that. I'm not certain why it did, but that's where I got even a hint of what Eternalize did. Was I did read that before, and then it switched on me, and now I don't know anything. But I also have Coma, Cosmo Serpent just for fun. Jin-Gataxia's Core Augur because
Snakes.
cards, and it kind of, it's like the Core Augur gives me 7 cards at my end step, but also reduces everyone's maximum hand size by 7. So it's kind of counterproductive if I'm trying to draw more cards from Mr. Foxglove, but it kind of depends on the game what I'm going for. I have options for either way if I want you guys to have cards so that I can have cards, or if I want to have cards so that I can have creatures. It's kind of depends on the game. So Jin-Gataxia's Core Augur, he's just one of my favorite Jins, so I just put him in there. I have Old Gnawbone, but I also have my my one really fun win condition. I think I have more technically win conditions in here, but this is the one that I actually care about and is fun. 20-toed Toad.
Oh, fun.
For 3 and a blue, you get a creature frog wizard. He's a 3/3. Your maximum hand size is 20. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, put a 1/1 counter on 20-toed Toad and draw a card. When 20-toed Toad attacks, this is gonna kill me. You win the game if there are 20 or more counters on it, or you have 20 or more cards in hand. So it's a lot like that. I don't remember what it's called. It's a weird word about 13.
Triskaidekaphile.
There it is. It's a lot like that one that cares about if you have 13 cards on your hand, but this one is less stupid because he's a frog and therefore he's cooler.
Yeah, and you don't have to get an exact number. You just
Yeah,
have to
it can be
beyond
just like
20.
above that. I
think
thought about
Tristadectophile is in the same deck that he is in as well. So
probably.
you've got 2 win cons in that deck.
I thought about putting in a lot of proliferation to just be like, find him, buff the counters, and we're good. But that doesn't sound like any fun at all for me.
Yeah.
So I decided to just go for, if I get him and I have a lot of cards, then woohoo.
Yeah.
You were also talking about, while you were talking about a bunch of the white sorceries and instants that you have, James, just about every one of those you said, I was like, hey, that's in mine. Hey, that was in mine. Hey, well, that's in mine. Because I have the, hold on, where is it? There it is. Yeah, I have the Dawn's Truce. I have the Path to Exile, the Swords of Plowshares, Teferi's Protection. I don't think you mentioned this one, but this is just I found another board wipe that I've never seen before, so I was like, ooh, new one. It isn't new, it's just I haven't seen it, or I haven't used it, because it's white. 2 and 2 white. 2 and 2 white, it's a sorcery for destroy all creatures, they can't be regenerated. Which works really well with my angel that gives all of my stuff indestructible.
Mm-hmm.
What's that one called?
That one is Wrath of God.
That's like the original board wipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually really old. This is why I've
they
never
call
seen
it wrathing the board when you board wipe.
Ah, that explains it.
Yeah, it's like that or Damnation. That's the first board wipe that was printed, I think. I think it is that one because it's of God and doesn't mention like a pantheon. And originally there was no pantheon, and this was the first card that talked about deities. I think it is just this one.
There's oh, Flawless Maneuver. It's another one of those ones that I really like with the if you control a commander, you may cast a spell without paying its mana cost. Usually it costs 2 and a white. It's an instant. Creatures you control gain indestructible in it till end of turn. Protect my guy. I think a lot of my price for this deck is coming from the Force of Will that I have here as well, because I'm crazy. Oh, I have 2. It kind of counts as ramp. Growth Spiral is a green and a blue. Draw a card, you may put a land card from your hand to the battlefield. So kind of another ramp. And along with Cultivate, I also have a single enchantment that lets me, I think it's a, oh no, I have 2 enchantments that let me play an additional land. One of them is Exploration, which that's all it does, an additional land on your turn. And the other one is Rites of Flourishing. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. Each player may play an additional land on each of their turns. Hey guys, have some cards and some lands. But I'm going to be drawing 3 at the beginning of my turn because Teferi's Ageless Insight, and I'm going to double that second one. I've realized while making this deck, when I make a deck with green and blue and white, the blue is my card draw and counter spells. The green is...
That's what it's good for.
The green is the land and bigger critters. The white is destroy or exile or protect myself. And that I never drift from those roles for the colors that I have.
You could throw in some life gain.
I could do that.
Except
do you want to be that guy? Do you really want to be me?
There's one more enchantment that I want to talk about, and then one more creature that I didn't mention yet that I was saving for last because he's awesome. The enchantment is Overlaid Terrain, another really old one. 2 and 2 green. As overlaid terrain comes into play, sacrifice all lands you control. Lands you control have tap, add 2 mana of any one color to your mana pool. That, and I also had the chromatic lantern. I have a few things that make all of my lands tap for any color. I figure in a 3-color deck, I see a lot of people struggle with that. I don't play a lot of 3-color decks, but I want to be able to not have to worry about what colors I'm tapping things for. That if
There's
I get
the reason I put both a lantern and a world tree into my 5-color deck. Because one, a world tree can actually fit into a 5-color deck, and the lantern is just good.
it's just
Extra colors, good. As long as I have 7 lands on the board, I can cast my commander.
if I get the overlaid terrain like on curve, there it is. If I'm casting it on curve, like turn 4 or before with some of my ramp or rocks, then I will definitely cast it. If it's almost anything after that, no, because I have to sacrifice all my lands. Like, even if it makes all of the lands afterward work well, if I already have 6 lands down, I am not playing this at all. I'm not starting over on my land front. The last card I wanted to talk about, which is a creature that I skipped over, kind of super big in this because you'll see why. You'll probably already know it from the name if I can pronounce this right. Galta? Stampede Tyrant. For 5 and 3 green, you get a legendary creature, Elder Dinosaur, who's a 12/12 with trample, and whenever Galta Stampede Tyrant enters the battlefield, put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. So if I'm...
It's a frickin' 12/12.
Yes. It's a 12/12 that will
For
then...
8.
It will, if I can cheat him out with Mr. Foxglove, I can then, for free, with 1 attack trigger, get down maybe like 3, 4, 5 ginormous creatures completely free. The plan for that is to fill my hand as much as possible. If I have that guy in my hand, I fill it as much as possible. Maybe use the attack trigger to drop down some smaller stuff. The Chasm Skulker, maybe. That'll get more counters on it. Just some other things for blocks or for value, like Consecrated Sphinx or something. I also have Esper Sentinel. Would you look at that? I forgot about that guy. But like get some of the smaller guys in with the attack triggers. And then while filling my hand up with all of my draw spells and stuff, and then later on in the game, 1 attack trigger, drop down my Galta, whatever.
Yeah, Galta.
Galta, and then just drop every other creature I have in this deck all at once.
Yeah.
And then all of them will be indestructible because of my angel.
Yeah.
Ta-da! That's my deck. I rambled a lot with that one. I got super excited about the combos I can have with all of my things.
It's all good. I like listening to people get invested in their decks. It makes me feel like I'm not just some weirdo because I had to really reel myself back in on this one, and even then I think I took like 20-30 minutes to get mine done.
I'm thinking about getting this one printed off too, or making a few changes to it and printing this one out, because it seems like one that could also be something that people would not want me to play, but it also it has the potential to not be a menace.
Yeah. I'm I'm gonna rate your deck now.
Oh, sweet.
Right.
I know where to
Right
cut
deck.
time if I need to cut stuff for time, because this is a 2-hour recording. I'm gonna take it from the center of my pitch, because there was a lot of stuff that was completely unnecessary.
That's fair. I'm gonna rate.
Thanks for agreeing.
I thought you were talking about Mono Chaos's conversation. They're in the middle
Yeah.
about something. I can't remember what
I
it was.
didn't remember that was there. There's a good chance it will be cut out too.
Yep. I thought you were talking about this epiphany with the charts.
Oh yeah, that too.
I forgot that happened. That might be cut out too.
Yeah. Anyways, there's a charts button on EDH Rec if you guys want easy guidelines for building decks. It's right underneath the commander.
They're
Use
not
it. It's helpful.
accurate.
They're accurate if you play a normal curve.
If you play a normal
Screw
curve, then you're
you.
basic and probably win games like a loser.
Yeah.
Wait.
And don't play enough green.
Anyways, I think I'm gonna rate yours a 10 out of the 12 permanents that cost 7 or 6 or more. CMC.
Is that a lot? Is that a lot? Is that too many?
10, 12? Yeah, I mean probably.
It's fine. I
It
can
would.
cheat stuff out. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it would be higher, but you know how I am about non-basic lands. I think in a 2-color deck you can get away with doing more than just basic lands, but if you have 3 colors and you're only doing basic lands and a reliquary tower, you're probably gonna have a really rough time.
Nah, no. That's what the
You
chromatic
need some
lantern is for.
duels.
That's what the chromatic lantern is for. Dual lands, 3-color land, anything like that. Multiple
You can
colored
get a couple
lands.
of the opponent lands in there.
All of those are too complicated for my little blue brain. I cannot handle.
My little
cannot
blue
handle
brain.
that much work. Look, man, if it was like different kinds of sorceries or instants that we were talking about, yeah, I'll throw all of those in there. Land's too complicated. Okay, I cannot handle that. Give me a few islands and I'm good. Okay, nothing else. Cannot handle it.
It should be it's worth noting that you have 9 forests, 9 plains, and 14 islands.
Yeah, well, because look at how many
there's
of
a
the
lot
pips
of
I
blue.
have. I have a lot
There's
of
a
blue.
lot of blue.
I followed a chart for that one. That was the Moxfield chart things telling
Yeah,
me how much of what color I have in there, and I was like, well, I guess I'm just kind of.
Yeah,
about
you
that.
45% of your non-land cards are blue, and you have 44% blue symbols on lands, 24 for white and 26 on lands, and then 25 for green and 26 for green. It's your basics do work out pretty well.
Yeah.
It's
See,
you just
I'm a
might
genius.
struggle with color fixing.
No. No, I draw enough to find my chromatic lantern eventually.
Unless
I'll
you only
be
draw forested plains.
No.
It's yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. See,
Anyways,
but
Jay-
then I can just like ramp or something, cause green. I'll figure it out. It'll be fine. I mean, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Anyways, James.
I'm gonna promise to gift you 3 cards, but you're only getting 2 because somebody countered one of my spells.
Sorry.
No, what are we talking about? I
2 out of
countered it.
3.
Yeah.
It was only affecting you.
Give
He
me
was
cards?
giving me
No.
It was only affecting you. It was giving me cards. Countered it anyway. I just had the right CMC on top of my library and got excited.
Yeah.
That counterbalance, man.
That
Yeah, that
counterbalance is
counterbalance
so much
got you.
fun. It's so much fun.
Anyways.
I am so mad now because I'm currently working on a mono blue deck, and I wanted to put in my counterbalance, and apparently I sold it.
Oh,
It's
no.
like $17.
Oh.
Screw all of you.
Yeah, fair enough. That's fair.
All right, where do we
That's
find you
right.
people? We gotta go.
You could find me behind the Arby's.
Okay. You can find me at Ronnan
_C_McKeeg on Twitch. I hardly do anything over there. Eventually, I'll do something. I don't know, man. Maybe.
And then we'll
Just-
ignore it for another 3 months.
Just
Yeah.
6
subscribe
months.
or something, and you'll see. Click the bell, and you'll know when I'm there, because that's the only way you'll know I'm there. I don't announce it or anything. I'll just show up.
What about you,
Anyway.
Jim?
I'm over at Twitch and YouTube. Show notes. I'm getting tired of spelling it out. I don't really stream or YouTube at this point. I've got a full-time job. It is the middle of busy season.
Yeah.
It's rough, man.
I don't. And I still
And
don't
on
have
top
time.
of that, Ronnan is also in the middle of busy season, so we can't even get on and play Baldur's Gate.
I didn't get home today until
Maybe
almost
eventually
7.
we'll play Baldur's Gate.
It was almost 7 o'clock by the time I got home today. We were supposed to start recording at like 5 when we usually do. It's
Yeah.
almost 11 because it was so late.
It's so EP and tired.
I've
Anyways.
been getting home at normal times. I'm just exhausted
Yeah.
because I work
Yes.
construction.
Yeah.
I work physical labor. Well, so does Ronnan, but he has weird hours.
Anyway, bye guys.
Bye. Have a good time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. See you around.
Bye.
Bye. I'm gonna
See
move
you
that
later.
thing about me screaming about food to after this, so you're gonna get a weird cut. Bye. Bye. See you guys.
Bye.
I didn't take a lunch today. I forgot. I had a ramen cup that I was gonna take with me, and I set it on the counter to take it with me to work. And then I walked out the door, and the ramen cup was on the counter. I didn't have lunch today. I'm so hungry. I sat down after getting here, like 30 seconds after I walked in the door, and I was like, okay, time to start recording. I haven't eaten anything. I didn't have breakfast this morning. I'm so
Get you
hungry.
some crunchy boy.